Yo, what's going on, my people? Precise Progression 97, 100 shots in the mental Mac 11. Y'all know what's going on with it, man. Okay, bam. Today's subject, man, we got Karmelo Anthony, man. The trial has officially started, and it's underway, and it's a lot of different viewpoints on it. It's a lot of different perspectives, and some of them are biased. Some of them have nuance, but the point is, man, it's pretty clear that it's a controversial issue. You know what I'm saying? And it's not just a clear, open and shut case at all, by no means. This is not an open and shut case because both sides have a perspective that could be looked at and be like, well, that's reasonable, that's understandable. But the thing about it is, it happened in Texas, and as a person who's done time in Texas institutions and had to deal with law enforcement, with the law enforcement, with the lawyers, with the prosecutions, and all that type of stuff, I'm going to be real. This is a manslaughter charge at best. To call this a first-degree murder, murder comes with an aspect of premeditation and the preconceived notion that I am finna murder somebody. So with my understanding of what the law is supposed to be, this is a manslaughter charge at best. You can get 10 years probation for a manslaughter. You can get probation for a manslaughter charge. You can get probation for that, right? And it was a case that happened years ago that everybody knows about with the brother Botham Jean. And he was murdered in his own house by a police officer named Amber Geiger, who had the defense position of, I was a police officer, all the doors looked the same, and it was my house. Boom, okay, boom. And with her walking in the house and thinking it was her house, she murdered a man in his house. And that's how the situation went. So, in my opinion, even if Karmelo Anthony is found guilty of murder, he should get the minimum charge, the most minimum sentence that is available for him. And from what I know, murder is 5 to 99. So if he is found guilty, he should get 5 years, and no more than that, because this was clearly a situation where he was a target. Even if he wasn't the victim, he was targeted because he was under a tent that wasn't his tent, but it wasn't the victim's tent either. He was also under a tent that has been documented that it wasn't his tent either. But he still felt the need to tell Karmelo Anthony, hey, you don't need to be here. Where does he get that viewpoint from that Karmelo Anthony doesn't belong in that tent if it's not his tent either? You know what I'm saying? So it just, you know, it's a lot of controversy, it's a lot of bias, and it's a lot of situations where people are using this situation to push their own hate mindset or their own viewpoint of being a hateful, racist, bigoted person. Black and white. You got black people that are anti-white that are using this as a situation to push their agenda. Then you got anti-black, racist white people that are using this as a reason to push their agenda. And I feel like both sides are wrong. I am a mixed-raced individual. My mother's white, my dad's black. I don't have no reason to be biased on either side. You know what I'm saying? So, and it's just sickening and it's just pitiful how people can use situations like this where an actual life was lost to push their agenda or push their platforms or to push their own agenda that only benefits them and not the parties involved. And it's just sickening to me. I hate what this world's become. But besides that, this situation deserves nuance, understanding, and cool heads in order to break down and analyze. Okay, so they say Karmelo Anthony could have walked away and avoided violence in totality. But keep in mind, man, this was a track and field event where Karmelo Anthony also ran track and it was also raining. They got newly released information that says that Karmelo Anthony also had an acquaintance that he knew and recognized, and that was also a reason for him to go underneath this tent, right? So he wasn't just there just to be there, just because That was the only play. He recognized somebody who he called a friend, and it was a rainy day, so he went under the tent to communicate with his friend and avoid the rainy day that was going on at this track meet, right? So it was one of those situations where Austin Metcalf felt like it was necessary to tell him to get out of the tent for whatever reason that might have been, whether it was racist, whether he wasn't on the same team as them, or whatever it might have been. But the simple fact is, as a human, whether it was his tent or not, it's raining outside. So why do you feel the need to tell this man that he don't deserve to be under that tent? And y'all have no pre-existing relationship, no pre-existing beef, no reason at all for you to feel like you had to tell this man to leave this tent. And regardless of whether you felt he didn't deserve to be there, it's like, where do you get this mind from? Where do you get this mind frame at to say that another person doesn't deserve anything? What gives you that right? Right? So, and they say, okay, he could have ran away, he could have did this, he could have did that. Regardless, who initiated contact first? Who initiated the first form of physical contact? Okay, boom. We go from there. Okay, then he put his hands on him first. Y'all say he wasn't supposed to have the knife at a school event. Regardless of that, did he initiate the physical contact? No, right? Okay, boom. So it gets physical. He pulls out his knife and he stabs his man in the chest and he dies, unfortunately, right? It gets to that point. And they say it's first-degree murder, right? But murder comes with the notion of premeditation and a preconceived notion that I am coming here to murder this individual. I don't believe that that was the case. And the evidence and the storyline that we see indicates that he didn't come there with the intention to murder anybody, right? So, and if it comes to the point where a life is lost in this situation that I described, what is that? Is it murder or is it manslaughter? As a person who's been through the system and understands what is what, this is a manslaughter situation. And you can get probation for manslaughter. So in the worst case scenario, this should be a manslaughter case where Karmelo Anthony gets probation and gets heavy stipulations. He goes to thinking, he goes to classes, he gets all these, and he gets community service, and he does all this. This is a manslaughter situation. Murder comes with the aspect of premeditation. This was a track meet, man. This was a track meet. Karmelo Anthony ran track. He wasn't out of place. He wasn't not supposed to be there. So initially, the fact that blacks and whites have agendas to make this a race issue, it's crazy to me. It should not be that. Does it play a part? Okay, of course. But let's look at the actual statutes and the actual codes that separate a manslaughter charge from a murder charge. You know what I'm saying? So let's just get like why is that not a bigger discussion than the white and black issue? This is not a murder. This is a manslaughter charge. And if it's not a self-defense charge, it should be dropped to manslaughter off the notion that this was not a premeditated. This was a track and field event, man, where kids were here for a track meet, but unfortunately it turned to a situation where a life was lost. Rest in peace, Austin Metcalf. Karmelo Anthony was a good kid. Two things can be true. Let's have nuance. We grown-ups, right? Let's have nuance towards what life is really about and how situations actually play out. Let's have nuance, people, and let's stop trying to push these agendas and trying to separate black and white issues, because certain things just come down to right and wrong. Fuck race. Because you got some black pieces of shit out here and you got some white pieces of crap out here. And that's just what it is, man. So that's how I feel about the situation. I feel like it's grounds for it to be a self-defense case and a manslaughter charge at best. Precise Progression 97, man. Y'all have a good day, man. And everybody stay blessed and sucker free out here, man. I love y'all, man.